And the award for the most inconsistent podcast for 2024 goes to the Real Lovers Podcast. I know on the last episode of the Real Lovers Podcast that I released talking about our favorite Black cinema films for Black History Month, which came out, I believe, back in July. That now that I recall, I can't really remember talking about a Black History episode in July. Now we're talking about the last Black History episode where I talk about our four favorite Black cinema films with Lieutenant Commander Rae, and it's in August. It's kind of hard to believe that we're already in August already. It feels like 2024 is just getting started, but also 2024 has been so much has been happening this year, and with this final episode of the Black Cinema Four Favorite series here on the lobby, I feel like I feel like a weight is being lifted off my shoulders, and I'm ready to start covering more movies from the Letterboxd Top 250 this Friday. Look forward to Goodwill Hunting, the next movie in that Letterboxd Top 250 series, where I talk with that nerd in theater or Sean about his favorite film, Goodwill Hunting, and yeah, should be releasing this Friday, and I have another little series dropping. Um, it's still in development a little bit, but you'll get a new release review coming from me very soon, and that will be a little hint into what series that we're retrospective series that we're going to be diving deep into here on the Rail Lovers podcast. And I do have one more episode that recorded back in April, I believe. I recorded it with Watch with Neebs, and we talked about Monkey Man, one of my favorite movies from this year. And yeah, that was a really great conversation I had with Watch with Neebs. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, after this episode that you're about to hear, and the Monkey Man review that I did with Watch with Neebs, those will be the last episodes that I've been sitting on for like the last couple of months. So I am terribly sorry that I've been sitting on these episodes for way too long. 2024 has been a year. It's definitely been a year, but August it's really starting to turn up. It's like we got just a bunch of interesting things going on in the world right now. A lot more uplifting things going on in the world. My mental health is slightly better. Still kind of struggling with that, but it's definitely getting better for sure. But yeah. But without further ado, I'm going to stop yapping so you guys can go ahead and listen to this episode that you've been clamoring for for the last doing off the top of my head for the last 6 months. You've been asking for this episode. Hopefully, Lieutenant Commander Rae is still a fan of the podcast. I'm pretty sure she is, but we had a really great time talking about our four favorite Black cinema films. So without further ado, enjoy the episode. See ya.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Lobby, a podcast that lives here on the Rail Lovers podcast feed. My name is Marla Silverbrand, your host as always, and all this month we are celebrating Black cinema. And joining me on this, you know what? This is gonna be a rather somber intro for our guest that we have today, celebrating Black cinema. She goes by Lieutenant Commander Rae on TikTok and YouTube, and it's been a long time coming having you on this podcast, because you were one of the first people that shouted me out on TikTok and listened to the podcast, and I saved that video and I watch it whenever I'm feeling down. So and I've been trying to get you on for the longest time, but the writer strikes was kind of like holding us back.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Rae, Lieutenant Commander Rae, welcome to the lobby. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. Pretty good. Yeah. We've been friends on TikTok for a while. I think
Since the
you were
beginning.
probably one of the first people that I like became friends with on there back, I think in
Mhm.
like I started my page in like 2021 maybe.
Mhm.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on here, and and I asked you just kind of like all my guests that I've had this month here on the
Hmm.
lobby to just give to come up with like your four favorite Black
Hmm.
films of like of all time, just in celebration of Black History Month, and it's a it I just loved like the series that I'm doing like all this
Hmm.
month is because I'm opening my eyes to a lot more different like Black films
Hmm.
and I'm sharing the films that I love that are directed or starring like Black actors. But
Sure.
without further ado, let's just get right into it.
Yes.
Uh, uh, Ray, do you want to go first with your first pick?
So do you mean okay, so you want to do like one at a time and then or just list all four that I picked? How do you
Let's
want to
just
do it?
let's just do one at a time. Let's just do
Okay.
one at a time. Yeah.
So the first one I picked is The Last Holiday
Hmm.
with Queen Latifah. Have you ever seen it?
Yes, I. It's been a
Um,
while since I've seen it, but I
yeah.
love Queen Latifah.
She just has such a beautiful, warm energy, and the messaging of the movie, it's kind of one of those movies that, like, I don't think people really pay attention to because it seems kinda like one of those, like, campy, like, early 2000s movies, but it's
Hmm.
got, like, such a gorgeous message. Basically, um, she works at a retail store and, um gets some bad news. She, like, gets injured and then gets some bad news that she's got, like, a terminal illness,
Hmm.
and she decides to take the next couple of weeks of her life to live the life that she had always wanted to live,
Hmm.
only to find out that it was a misdiagnosis, and she, like, kind of gets a new lease on life, like, don't spend your time, living the status quo, live your dreams because you don't know how much time you have.
Hmm.
I love it, and it's such a warm message, especially since it is technically kind of like a holiday movie. It's around like Christmas time, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love this film as well. I remember actually watching this with my mom,
Mhm.
a lot, like when this film came out, and I just love Queen Latifah's just
Yeah.
energy throughout, like, pretty much everything that she does, and
Mhm.
I do like the message a lot. It kinda reminds me of The Bucket List,
Mm,
a
mhm.
movie starring, Morgan Freeman and, who else is I
I
in
think
it?
it might be Robert De Niro
I think
or
so.
Min I would have to look it up. I know it was like one of those older kind of classic actors, maybe like Robert Redford or someone.
Yeah, for sure. But that's a great pick. I love that. I love the message as well of
Yep.
just kind of like living your life without like any meaning to it and just yeah, don't have any regrets. Don't have any
I had a
regrets.
friend actually say in the past, like, couple of weeks, like, basically she said, "Take the breaks off, quote, unquote." Like, live your life
Hmm.
because, 1, no one else is going to, and you might run out of time to live it yourself. So do what you want, live the best version of yourself. Don't put your dreams on hold. It's such an arbitrary kind of thing that it's like, well, maybe in the future, it's like, first of all, for the future, sometimes people that doesn't come.
Hmm.
So do it now. Whatever your goals are, start pursuing them now. And I love that at the end, she kind of did get her happy ending because she fell in love with LL Cool J's character, who she had kind of been like pining for. And she was able to start a restaurant. That's kind of always where her passion was. So I love that in the end, she did get her happy ending, and that kind of was still the pursuit of that dream. Because once you open the restaurant, you still gotta run it and everything, but at least she was happy in doing that.
Georgia Bird spent her life
Morning, Miss Bird.
Mr. Williams?
dreaming of possibilities
I suggest you get with the program, Miss Bird. Yeah.
You're just scared of some man getting a hold of that booty of yours.
until the day
I was wondering sometime if you're free. I'll get it.
fate
This can't be right.
changed everything.
I got 3 weeks to live?
And I feel like that message could but it fits more it fits perfectly to the
Mhm.
world that we're living in today. It's just like
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many jobs I left like because I wasn't happy and I
Mm.
was like I'm not going to be unhappy sitting in this job
Mhm.
just like wasting away and kind of like a perfect companion piece. I'm not sure if you've seen uh uh, Carol at the End of the World, I think. It's on Netflix.
Carol
Uh
at the End of the World. I don't think I have, but I'm gonna
it's
add
kind
that.
it's very similar to that. I've just I watched it like right at the end of 2023 and it was
Mhm.
uh just kind of like Carol, just kind of like going through the same thing Queen Latifah is going through,
Wow.
and just kind of like she's kind of living this kind of like mundane life, and the end
Mhm.
of the world happens, and like everyone is. It's kind of the opposite a little bit now that I'm thinking about it out loud, but I don't know. Great pick, The Last
Mm,
Holiday, starring
mhm.
Queen Latifah, and that's was that like early 2000s, right?
Yeah, I wanna say it was in the first, like, few years of 2000, yeah.
Mhm. Great pick. My next pick, my first pick is a film that it was nominated for Best Documentary Feature in
Mm,
2022, and the 2022 Academy Awards,
mhm.
and it's a musical documentary. It's directed by Questlove, and it's Summer of Soul.
Mm,
This
that's been
is
on my watch list for a long time.
it do what you can and see this as quickly as possible, because I absolutely love this when it came out in 2021, and
Mhm,
it really opened my eyes to just like the black community,
mhm,
and how they use music and positivity to uplift themselves like during unrest,
mm,
and it really I knew that when doing like this series, I started to notice that there's a lot of like black films that
mhm.
are unwatchable just because they haven't been preserved or anything like that.
Yeah.
And knowing that like this whole Harlem culture festival was
Mhm.
filmed and then just put in the basement somewhere so no one could watch it, and
Right.
yet Woodstock, this famous music festival that everyone knows
Yes.
about, featuring white people, it 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 kinda grind my gears a lot, but
Yeah.
I have so much respect for Questlove for finding, like, this footage and repurposing it, and getting, like, these artists back that perform there, and let them watch, like, their performances. It's just a incredible documentary that's uplifting, and just seeing, like, all these black people just enjoying themselves, and
Mhm.
like I said, like, during unrest, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's an incredible documentary.
That's amazing. That's funny that you mentioned that because it's kinda like the, I would say the reestablishing of Black people in culture as
Mhm,
if culture didn't come from Black people, which it absolutely did.
mhm,
Because the last couple of weeks since the Super Bowl, we've seen this backlash to Beyonce releasing a country album, as if there haven't been always country Black people who produced music. We
mhm,
get bluegrass and some of the other Southern versions of jazz music. Of course, there's always been Black country singers. And she's from Texas. Like, I don't know where you have to frame your mind to expect this Texan Black woman to not sing country. It's kind of crazy. And so
mhm,
for Questlove to be able to present a musical genre that he connects with because he is from there, he's always been connected with it. But like you said, finding um, this recording and being able to put that back into the minds of people for people to be able to see it
mhm,
for the joy. And it really is kind of like because I've heard about the documentary, like, I've looked into it, and so I knew kind of what it was about.
mhm,
Because my mom, like, went in the '70s, she actually lived in Washington, DC, which had
mhm,
a similar musical vibe in that era, and so it's like there was comparable things happening, but of course you get the shelving of, this Black experience, and so for it to win the Oscar was really lovely, and a recognition that was duly served. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, and just, like, and when watching it again, I was amazed by how many famous, like, black musicians performed, like, you had Stevie Wonder, the likes of
Mhm,
Stevie Wonder, like, performing, like, at this, like, week-long, like, event, and
mhm.
the fact that people weren't able to see this until Questlove, like, it breaks my heart, but,
Yeah.
that's, Summer of Soul. It's directed by Questlove, like I said, and you can stream it now on Hulu for free, or for membership or
Are
whatever.
you ready, black people?
Are you really ready? Are you ready to listen to all the beautiful black voices, the beautiful black feeling, the beautiful black waves moving in beautiful air? Are you ready, black people? Are you ready?
Ray, what's your next pick?
So my next movie is Black Panther. Um, it's such a great movie. Um, and I think in the MCU, it kind of was we needed a different type of hero when
Hmm.
it came out in that I think it was in what phase 1, I think.
Hmm.
Um, it was it was honestly such like a celebration of an idea of like what if black people hadn't what if Africa had not been colonized like and the kind of the majesty in that. Of course Chadwick is fantastic. It's got some really huge hitters, Lupita and Angela Bassett. Yeah, it was just such a beautiful celebration and idea. And the character of Black Panther, I think, had been around for a long time. He just had not gotten the kind of spotlight that other characters like Superman and Batman and other characters like that have gotten. So I'm glad they were like, we're going to put this on the map by making this movie. And it was amazing.
I have seen gods fly. I've seen men build weapons that I couldn't even imagine. I've seen aliens drop from the sky.
Yeah.
But I have never seen anything like this.
Yeah, great pick. I love Black Panther. Both of the Black Panthers, Wakanda
Yes.
Forever, and the first Black Panther. And last episode, I talked about another Ryan Coogler film, Fruitvale
Hmm.
Station, and I kind of compared Fruitvale Station and Wakanda Forever. Like they kind of had similar tones where it's where it's black people dealing with grief, and how Ryan Coogler does that in such a a wonderful and respectful way towards the families. Because in Wakanda, like in Wakanda Forever, they do they do like
Yes.
a funeral for Chadwick Boseman, and I thought
Hmm.
that sort of like somber scene, it was done in the most respectful way.
Hmm.
And how Ryan Coogler basically he's done that before with like Fruitvale Station, this tragic death of like this black person at
Hmm.
a BART subway station. And the I don't know, he knows how to like direct like those type of scenes like incredibly well. And I love that he got like his like everyone started recognizing him from the original, from the first Black Panther made $1 billion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the fact that he got paid off of that and he was able to kind of do whatever he wanted,
Yeah.
I love Ryan Coogler. And I also love that the first film, I don't remember the second film all that much because I've only seen it once, but
Hmm.
uh, I love that the first one features Oakland, California,
Yeah.
like pretty heavily. But
Yeah.
yeah, love Black Panther. It's so great.
Yeah, Ryan, he's shaped up to be like a really insightful, with like a specific vision for the films that he makes.
Mhm,
And I don't think I've seen a few of his films outside of like Black Panther, because he also I think he also did Creed, right? He
mhm.
did the first Creed movie. Um, yeah, he's got a really keen artistic eye, and with that, a lot of empathy, like you said, the funeral scene, at the beginning of Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever was really beautiful because, it kind of serves a dual purpose, one for the character and also for Chadwick. It was just really well and tastefully done. Yeah.
Yeah, very tastefully done. But yeah, great pick. Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler. It's the best Marvel movie in my opinion. Just to get some people in the comments get a little angry, but
It's no less than top 5, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, great pick. My next pick is a film that came out recently. It's
Mm,
in 2024. I didn't think I was gonna like this film very much, but I feel like I had to see it just because my name,
mm.
Marley. So the film's Bob Marley: One Love. It's directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, and I feel like for me, music biopics are kind of
Mm,
like played out at this point.
mm,
But I and like I don't think this film is like a perfect film, but
mhm,
I think what the Marley estate, like Ziggy Marley and like the rest of
mhm,
his family wanted to get across with this film is that they wanted to show what Bob Marley's music meant for
mhm,
the people listening to it and what Bob Marley wanted people to get from his music, and it was to bring people together
mhm,
during civil unrest and
mhm.
and genocide,
Right.
in Jamaica. And I feel like now, I don't want to like, yeah, especially now with like genocide that's happening in the Middle East. I feel
Mhm,
like what the Marley estate really wanted, like with this film, is they wanted some positivity
mhm,
to like even within times of unrest, listen to music and specifically Bob Marley music, and
mm,
and things will you can see a light at the end of the tunnel. Uh,
mhm,
but and especially since my name is Marley, like throughout
mhm,
all my life, people have always been like, "Oh, did your parents smoke weed? Did they
mhm.
light up?" And I'm like, Bob Marley meant a lot more
For
to
sure.
than just like lighting up and just getting high. So I love that this film, one, it helped it helped with my name kind of like getting out of the gutter a little bit, and also I
Yeah.
love that the Marley estate was able to like show a different side of Bob Marley. It's not the
Mhm,
complete side of Bob Marley, but it's a it's a really great film. Have you seen this
mhm.
film yet, Ray?
I
Or
haven't seen it yet, but I have seen, reviews by a couple of Jamaican creators who,
Mhm,
kind of talked about it. Like, I think people are used to some other, like you said, music biopics that are either more expansive or talk about more of the, person or the music, but not both together. And he's kind of inseparable from his music.
mhm,
He was a huge source of hope and light for a lot of people.
mhm,
And so the Jamaican creators that I've seen that have talked about this really talked about how impactful it was to them, and you can definitely see and tell that his estate had a lot to do with the creation. It wasn't sensationalized. So
mhm.
I'm glad it was more honest.
Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs.
When you write that?
All my life.
I'm glad that Jamaican creators are liking this film because what some of the like the negative things that I saw from
Mhm,
other Jamaican creators is that Kingsley Benadir played Bob Marley
mhm,
and he is far from Jamaican.
mhm,
But I will have to, I was worried about that going in because Jamaican accents never really come across like on
mhm,
screen. But I don't know who he had as a dialect coach, but
mhm.
he nailed that Jamaican accent, Kingsley Benadir, who also was in Barbie as a Ken. But I thought he did a really great uh, job of doing the Jamaican accent and not having
Mhm.
it be like kind of like a caricature of Bob
Right.
Marley. But yeah, for anyone that was feeling kind of worried about that, it's definitely nothing to worry about. I do wish that there was subtitles when watching this movie, just because
Ah, okay.
heavy Jamaican accents,
It's
especially very
it can
hard
be
to.
broken for sure. It's not a
Mhm.
direct translation, so yeah.
Yeah, but that is Bob Marley, One Love. I believe it's still in theaters right now. You can check that
Yeah.
one out. You can check it out in theaters, and it's directed by Reynaldo Marcus Green. And yeah, like I said, it's in theaters. But Ray, what's your next pick?
So my next pick is Hidden Figures, which is based off of a true story.
Hmm.
Um, about Black women in the space program back in the 60s, which and it's so like my initial reaction after seeing this movie as an educated woman. I went to college, I graduated from college. Um I'm like, this is the kind of thing, like, nerd black girls should know about. Like,
Hmm.
if I had known that these women were so impactful, like, I would have had a poster of them. Like, this is the kind of, you know what I mean? Like, they're
Yeah.
that cool that there's, like, to be fighting racism, to be fighting stereotypes that women can't be smart alone, let alone black women,
Hmm.
and to be so pivotal in the launch of the first spacecraft to the moon, like, is
Hmm.
crazy. It's like, how did no one know about this? And the fact that the the real woman, Catherine, who is played by Taraji, was received a Lifetime Achievement Award for her work in the space program is amazing. I'm glad that she was honored before she passed away. But it's such a beautiful movie that there was a lot of sacrifice, a lot of fortitude and strength that they had to do what they loved, which was obviously higher mathematics. Genius. Brilliant.
Y'all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk.
You're welcome to walk the 16 miles or sit in the back of the bus.
You have identification on it?
NASA, sir.
NASA? I had no idea they hired.
There are quite a few women working in the space program.
Least I can do is give y'all an escort.
3 Negro women are chasing a white police officer down the highway in 1961. That is a God-ordained miracle.
I love this film as well. I also, like you said, I love seeing black people, more specifically black women, like succeed in STEM as well.
Mhm.
Like you don't see that a lot, like in film.
Right.
And another film that I highlighted this month was See You Yesterday, like
Mm.
a time travel movie about like this black girl that makes like this time machine to go back in time to like save like her
I
brother that
haven't
got.
seen it, but I saw a trailer. It looks really good.
It's really good, but that's like another film that shows black women, specifically black women, black girls,
Mhm.
like just showing like their love and passion for science fiction and
Mhm.
science in general. And I haven't seen Hidden Figures in a really long time, but
Mhm.
it's yet another film where it's like this these four women doing something remarkable, like absolutely remarkable, yet we didn't know about it until like this
Yeah,
movie came out. And it's heartbreaking that there's moments in history that just go that go unnoticed. It go unnoticed for like the longest time.
absolutely.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And also it's just like I know like black people have it hard enough like in this country,
Mm.
but like black women, like having to deal with racism and also being a woman here in America, we need to do better. We need to do better as a society.
The intersection is intersectioning, as they say.
Mhm,
So it's really lovely that even in that time, they were able to still be so integral,
mhm.
and for this movie to finally get the spotlight that it deserved, for the women to get the spotlight and having this movie made about them. Yeah.
And it was nominated for Best Picture, right? Or was it?
Yeah.
Or yeah. Great pick. I love that. I love that film. I'm definitely gonna rewatch it.
Mhm.
Probably after this recording, but yeah. That's Hidden Figures. It's starring who
Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe.
g-
There's a lot of other, like, Black women that you've seen before and, like, the kind of, ensemble of other Black women in the movie, but those are the 3 primary characters.
yeah. Taraji P. Henson also was in another movie that watched this month, Baby
Hmm.
Boy as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah, I loved her in that. She was
Mhm.
like
One
she's
thing
great in
about it, she's
everything.
gonna turn in a performance. Doesn't matter
Mhm.
what the movie is, she's always gonna turn in a performance, absolutely.
Yeah, great pick. But my next pick is another new release.
Hmm.
Saw it recently, but it instantly shot to my my 4 favorites here, and it's a Peanuts short film. You can watch it
Mm.
on Apple TV Plus, and it's Welcome Home Franklin. This is
Oh, okay.
this is an animated short about Franklin from the Peanuts cartoon, and it's directed by Raymond S. Percy, and I'm sure everyone is familiar with Peanuts, like Charlie Brown,
Mhm, mhm.
Snoopy. It's an iconic cartoon, and
Yeah.
I feel like and the most popular, I believe, of like the animated cartoons is the Thanksgiving
Yeah.
holiday special. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you remember the Thanksgiving feast because it's gone viral on TikTok of everyone sitting at this picnic table getting ready to eat, and Franklin is on one side, and all the other friends are on the other. And this
Yeah.
is basically giving Franklin his flowers, giving him his own animated short. It's produced by Apple TV Plus, and it's absolutely delightful.
It's amazing.
It's beautifully animated. I
Mhm.
love just kind of you see like the side of Franklin that you wanted to see. You see like like his parents were like military parents and how he's constantly like
Mm. Mhm.
moving
Mhm.
to different like towns and not able to like establish like a friendship.
Mhm.
And he befriends Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown is like I want to say Charlie Brown is like the one white friend that black people always wish they had
Sure.
because he's so supportive and
That's awesome.
I don't know, I love it. It's very short, it's like 40 minutes, but
Okay.
it's definitely a great time. But to uh, like the one thing I did want to talk about is like the whole controversy around like Franklin only sitting on one side of the table.
Mhm.
um, like kind of like a history behind that is that
Mhm.
like when that special came out, it was like I think it was like late 60s, early 70s when it came out.
Mhm.
So just right around like the whole civil rights like movement. And
Mhm.
Charles Schultz was actually the one that said like I want him in this cartoon, and he fought
Mhm.
against like the publisher, saying
Mhm.
like, hey, like the publisher obviously didn't want that because they're like, oh, we can't have
Mm.
people that look like that like in this cartoon.
Wow.
And Charles Schultz was just like, no, I like if you're gonna do this, I'm going to just not make these cartoons anymore. And the
Wow.
fact that Charles Schultz, like, stood on the side of black
Mhm.
people even back then makes me love him even more. I loved him
That's
already, but
amazing.
it's absolutely amazing. But, what do you think of Peanuts, and have you seen, like, the one with
Um,
Franklin?
I always loved Peanuts. Like, we always watched all of the, like, specials that came out every year, that replayed every year.
Mhm,
Me and my grandma, we actually used to read the comic strip, like,
mhm,
in the newspaper every Sunday.
yeah,
So, I always loved the, Peanuts franchise, if you will.
cinematic
Um,
universe.
Cinematic universe exactly. Charlie Brown, Peppermint Patty, um, all of the characters, love them all. I don't I remember Franklin, but because he wasn't that big of a character,
Mhm,
it's good that I kind of like that when an IP knows that a marginalized character needs fleshing out,
mhm,
that they don't have any like kind of problem with going back and giving them their own spotlight. So, and really for a Peanuts movie, I mean, 40 minutes is a reasonable amount of time to tell a good enough story to
mhm,
spotlight his character. Um, because like the holiday specials, I mean, with commercials, those are usually like an hour long. So
mhm.
it's good that he was able to get that much time for his own character development. And you said it's on Apple TV or is it anywhere else? Because I don't have Apple TV.
It's on Apple TV Plus, but,
Ah,
yeah, I think probably a free trial is available out there um, for people to check out this, short film.
Hi, I'm Franklin. I've lived in a lot of different places. My family is always on the move. This was it, our new town. Do you want to have... Excuse me. Making new friends can be hard. I'm Franklin Armstrong. My name is Charlie Brown.
It's just really great. I love, like, the animation. I love that
mhm,
it's kind of, like, harkens back to the old Peanuts, like,
mm,
cartoon art style, but also, like, it's kind of like a mixture between that old art style, but also that Peanuts cartoon that came out in
mhm,
2016 that
mhm,
everyone should go watch. I think that I think it's Sony put that out. Sony
mhm.
Animations put it out. Just a really nice blend of animation and just, like and also highlighting like a
Mhm.
the one and only black character on like in the
Right.
Peanuts universe. But that is Welcome Home Franklin. You can watch it on Apple TV Plus, and it's available now. But what's your last pick, right?
My last pick is Brown Sugar, which stars Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan. Um, and I think that this one came out in like the 90s. They're very young in this movie.
Mhm.
And basically it's a rom-com. They meet as kids and they grow up as best friends, and then eventually they fall in love. And the movie centers around their experience with hip hop music
Mhm.
as the trajectory for their friendship and relationship that turns out. I just love it. It's warm. It also actually has Queen Latifah in it. And Mos Def, the rapper, is also a significant character in the movie. It's
Mhm.
just such a warm, light movie and shows how sometimes the person that is the most important person in your life can also be the person that you're in a relationship with because they live successful separate lives as friends and then eventually realize like, oh, I love this person forever. Like it's kind of funny how it turns out. Yeah, it's such a beautiful movie. I wish more people watched it.
I I haven't seen this film, but everything that you described about it sounds like something I want to check out, and it sounds like another film that came out last year.
Hmm.
Would you say it's similar to Past Lives a little bit?
I actually haven't seen Past Lives. It's literally the first thing on my watch list on Paramount Plus. Like, it's the next thing that I plan to watch. I
Okay.
have heard that, it has that same kind of connected,
Mhm.
uh, theme,
Mhm.
but I haven't seen it yet. I desperately want to, though.
Well, I got homework, and now you got homework. You got to watch Past
Okay.
Lives, and then I'll watch Brown Sugar.
What you gonna do? Nothing. It's just a little kiss. Tone. A little bit. Did you feel anything? It was a mistake.
I love black people falling in love.
Yes.
It's like one of my favorite. Like we need more black rom coms, like
Fact.
in today's day and age. Which speaking of another black rom com that was on my list in the last episode, it's Rye Lane. Rye Lane
Mhm.
is like an absolutely enjoyable like rom com of just about black people just kind of breaking up with their significant others, but they don't. It doesn't. The movie doesn't focus on that, and
Mhm.
the two of them basically get together and they're just spending their time in like on Rye Lane and just like existing and enjoying each other's
Mhm.
company. It's absolutely incredible. But like I said, more black rom coms. Like
Yes.
we need uh more of those that don't feature black trauma.
I
Like
was gonna say the same thing.
yeah,
Yes.
like it's funny because you're gonna say the same thing because throughout this entire month, I tried to focus
Mm.
like on all my picks or any new watches
Mhm.
on no black trauma because
Mhm.
we've seen enough of the 12 Years a
Enough.
Slaves,
Yes.
enough of I you know what I I feel like you could still do a gang related
Mm.
like movie and it doesn't have to be traumatic
Mhm.
because I feel like there's other stories to tell there, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it's a little bit tired at this point. Would you say so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The movies that we've talked about on the Real Study this month was The
Mhm,
Great Debaters
mhm,
and, oh my god, what was the other movie that we talked about? The Book of Eli, and
mhm,
then we did Aquila and the Bee and Dear White People last week.
mhm,
So it's a juxtaposition, and each of those has a relative amount of trauma.
mhm.
Um, so I'm excited. This week we're doing Captain Marvel and the Marvels, and so it's like, let's do some black superheroes. That
Yeah,
sounds much more fun to do it that way.
right.
So
Mhm.
yes, more movies not focusing on trauma.
Y
Black people, they just be people sometimes. They don't have to be traumas.
right.
So
And or just have them experience things that white people would experience
right.
because it's one of those things where it's like black people can do things that white people can do. It's like
Absolutely.
like I don't like this film all that much, but I like King Richard, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
like I know people know who Venus and
Mm-hmm.
Serena Williams are, but just like black people like succeeding in like a professional sport. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's but yeah. Brown but your pick was Brown
Brown
Sugar.
sugar. Yep.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out. It's gonna shoot to the top of my watch list because I believe
Yeah.
Danielle from No More Late Fees, she mentioned it. It wasn't in
Okay.
her
Yeah.
fourth
Yeah.
phase, but she
Yeah.
referenced it in the
She did a rom-com series a while back that included it. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely gonna check that out. But my last pick is a film that came out in 2019.
Mm,
It's another Northern California classic because it's featured in San Francisco, like the Bay Area,
mhm,
and it is The Last Black Man in San Francisco. This is one of the
okay.
first
Yes.
and early A24 films that kind of like a lot of people noticed, but uh, I have decided to feature it like this week just because I don't hear a lot of people talking about this film. It's it's it's
Yeah.
it's weird and very ironic that not a lot of people talk about this film because it's about just black people getting erased from San Francisco, a city
Mhm.
that was built on the back of like immigrants and people of color. And I think that what the way this film kind of like deals with gentrification,
Mm,
it deals with it in such a like honest and true way, and you
mhm,
see like these black people just getting kicked, not necessarily getting kicked out, but you just see
mhm,
them like on the outside, like looking in.
mhm,
And I think the thing that it's basically about Jimmy Jimmy Fails.
mhm,
It's the actual guy starring in the movie, which I totally forgot that was the case.
mhm,
But basically about him trying to get his grandfather's house back that is on Fillmore and Golden Gate in San
mhm,
Francisco. And uh, I just love that this movie is about him kind of like getting that house back and black people claiming back the turf that was
mhm.
taken away from them. And I feel like it's done in like such an authentic and unique way. It's shot beautifully, absolutely beautifully, like amazing cinematography. And yeah, have you seen this film, right? Or
I haven't. It's also on my watch list. Me and my brother, we were actually looking up black movies last night,
Mhm.
and I'm like, it was on the list, and I'm like, man, I forgot about that. Like, you're right. Like, people don't talk about it. Like, I literally forgot, and I was like, man, I had heard that that was really good. Like, right when it came out, a
Mhm.
lot of people talked about it, and then it kind of just fell out of the discussion.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm looking forward to making sure I push that to the top of my list, as one of the ones because I wanted to watch it and then I just forgot about it, truthfully.
Yeah, it also stars Jonathan Majors as well.
Mm.
I know that he's kind of like a hot button topic a little bit, but
Yeah,
he's really good in it. Like
that's the issue
I've
when you
really like
screw up.
really yeah. I don't know. I just see it as the I understand it's an issue like when he
Mhm,
screws up, but I'm still I don't this might get into I don't know a heated debate.
mhm,
But I thought, like, kind of like the pushback, like, on Jonathan Majors was a little bit unfair just because there's plenty of white people that have
for
done
sure.
similar and far worse things, and we still watch, well, not you and me, but people
Yeah,
still get,
their
people
movies
still
are still
support
in
them.
circulation. Yeah,
Yes. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, when it comes, I mean, I think especially now we see a lot more because people have accessibility to the information, they have accessibility to um, each other in a way that
Mhm.
makes the retrieval of information so easy. And so, knowing that even in the past, there were actors and television and film performers that are just not good people,
Mhm.
um, that sometimes, depending on who you are, that can have a bigger detriment to your career than for
Mhm.
others, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, but, he's still really good in the movie,
Yeah.
and there but except feel like the only thing that's probably keeping this film from it's like right now it's at a 4.5 out of 5. It's keeping it
Mm,
from a 5 is based
mm,
on like how it ends. Just
mhm,
because I don't want to give away like the ending too much, but I feel like the ending is a little bit is a little disingenuous on like the side of like
mm,
Jimmy.
mhm,
But I don't want to give it away, but if
mhm,
you kind of like know like about like Black history and just
mhm.
and everything around that, you kind of know where you kind of think that Jonathan Majors character is what he's doing is a little unfair. But
Okay.
I don't know. It's still really good. Just about I love how poignant like this film is about like how white people basically invaded San Francisco. And like probably one of my favorite lines in like the movie is like when these two white women are sitting on the bus and Jimmy is
Mhm,
like sitting next to him and they're talking about how they hate San Francisco and Jimmy
mm,
turns around and says like, "Do you love San Francisco?" And there's like a back and forth, and Jimmy basically goes on and saying, "If you don't love San Francisco, then you're not allowed to hate San Francisco." And I
right.
feel like that, especially for being, especially living in kind of like a small
Mhm,
relative city where I've seen a lot of transplants coming into the city, like that hit really close to home for me, just because
yeah.
uh, you it's one of this it's like a love-hate relationship where
Mhm,
uh, it's like, when people say that they hate something, it's like, "Did you actually watch it?" Or something like that, kind of like
right.
going on the TikTok thing, but, I don't know, I just thought that line was, like, incredible for me because it's like
It's true. I
yeah,
mean, a lot of people, like, I don't live in the city where I was born
mhm,
anymore, but, like, my mom and my grandma, they still live up there, and
mhm,
it's like, the city is dead, you know what I mean? Like, it's so far lost and gone right now,
mhm,
but it's still my home, like, that's still where I'm from, and so it still has a portion of my heart, but as far as this, I could never live there again, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't like, I love it, but because I love the potential and what it was, what it could be if somebody figured out how to make a city alive again,
mhm.
but that's why I hate it. So, that makes complete sense. It's like, you hate it here, is it because you hate it or is it because you love it? Because if it's not because you love it, then I don't wanna hear it, you know? Like
Right, exactly.
We built these ships, dredged these canals in the San Francisco they never knew existed. This is our home.
That is, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. It's distributed by A24, directed by Joe Talbot, a white guy, but,
mm,
he was also from the Bay Area as well. And it's
mm,
just like another thing. I know it's important to have, like, Black people behind the camera, but
mhm,
I had another film it was Attack the Block,
mm,
starring John Boyega, but
mhm,
that's directed and written by Joe Cornish. It's just showing that white people can also feature black people,
mhm,
and it doesn't have to be a traumatic like film. It can be like them kind of like doing sci-fi or doing like a personal film like The Last Black Man in San Francisco. But
mhm.
yeah, not saying that it's not important to have like
Yeah,
black people behind the camera, but we can all coexist and
yeah.
get along and tell stories together. And
I think it
that's
has to do with too, like, the diversity of your experience and the
mhm,
diversity of the people that you hire. Like,
mhm,
you can definitely make a respectful story about another culture, but
mhm,
I think that you, one, have to be somewhat integrated or at least in tune to that experience,
mhm,
or if you know you're not, well enough to tell it in the right way to hire people who can help you do that. And so you get I mean a lot of creators, a lot of movie makers have done that and you can almost always tell when they have done their homework and when they haven't. So
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, those are our 4 favorites. Our 4 favorite, like, Black films, like, during the month of February for Black History Month, but it I know February is almost over. It's hard
Mhm.
to believe. It feels like this month just started, in my
Yeah.
opinion, but, this is just, like, a reminder is that Black history, uh, is all year round, not
Yes.
just 29 days of the year.
Right.
But yeah, but those are our 4 favorites, of Black films. This is the part of the show, Ray, where, you get to tell all of our fellow real lovers that are hanging out in the lobby where they can find you online. So
You can find me on TikTok at LT as in Tom dot or period COM as in mustard dot RAE. And it's the same username without periods on both TikTok or on Twitter and on YouTube.
yeah, and also if everyone loves hearing Ray talk really eloquently about film, you can also hear her talking about film on the Real Study as well, a fellow friend
Absolutely.
of the Real Lovers podcast, and you're a great guest to have on this podcast as well as that
Mm,
podcast as well. If people loved this episode, though, you can subscribe or follow the Real Livers podcast on any podcast where on any podcast platform, um, like iTunes. I always mess that up. It's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple
Apple
Podcasts.
Podcast. Yeah.
You can listen or watch this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher, or anywhere where you listen to podcasts. We're at.
Hmm.
You can follow us on Twitter as well with the username at Real Lovers Pod, and that username is all across Instagram, Instagram Threads. You can find us
Mm.
on Threads as well. Uh, hit that like button as well if you're watching here on YouTube, and also hit that subscribe button uh, as well on Marley Loves Films YouTube channel and the Real Lovers Podcast YouTube channel as well. And also, if you want to highlight another Black film that we probably missed, you can drop us a line at and leave us a voicemail with the number 213-433-2908. We would love to hear from you. Just mention where you're calling from and how you want to be addressed, and we would love to hear from you. You can also donate for as little as $1 or less to our Patreon. All of these links will be in the description box down below. And yeah, for only $1, you can subscribe and get access to our community Discord server. And for $5 on our Patreon, you can request a movie for us to watch and review. And yeah, but with that being said, hold on. Uh, Hold on, I'm just gonna pause. I forgot to mention my. And also, if you want to follow me, Marley Silverbrand on all social platforms, you can just use the. I'm pretty much on everything except for Twitter anymore. I got rid of that. I got rid of my Twitter account, but Marley Loves Film across all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. And yeah, but with that being said, my name is Marley Silverbrand for the Real Livers podcast,
Lieutenant Commander Ray.
and let's get back to the movies. See ya. Thank you for listening to The Lobby, part of the Real Lovers podcast feed. This podcast was produced by yours truly, Marley Silverbrand. It was also edited by Sagir. If you like this podcast, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and also leave us a 5-star rating on your podcast platform of choice. Thank you, and have a great day.